Chuck Fresh with PCGYN. This is Computer Care Clinic's Tip of the Day. Today we're going to talk about wireless connectivity, more so troubleshooting wireless connectivity. It's one of the most common questions we get here at Computer Care Clinic. They say, I have a wireless connection and it keeps dropping, or I can't get on my wireless network. Why is that? Well, to be honest, a lot of us really don't know as computer technicians. There's so many variables that go into a successful wireless connection that you really have to start at the beginning to troubleshoot each individual component to find out why it's not working or why you're not connecting. So let's start at the beginning. The first thing you want to check is to make sure that you've paid your internet service provider bill, because they will shut you off without telling you, but usually you get about 2 or 3 months late. All aside, that's just a joke, but hey, some people do it. First thing you want to check is that the wired connection into your house, your internet service provider's connection, your Bright House, your Time Warner, your AT&T. Make sure that that unit is functional. And you can usually tell there's a series of lights on the front of it, and usually one of them says broadband or connected or something. There's so many variables, so many differences. Check with that, make sure that's all lit up. You can also pull the plug on those things. They're pretty easy to do. This is a wireless router, but it has a similar feature. Just pull the plug out of it. Some of them have batteries, so you need to pull the battery out too. If you're really not sure how to start your modem, which is bringing in the internet to your house, you need to check with that first. If you're not sure how to restart that, call your internet service provider and they can usually send a reset signal and even test it from where they are at a remote location. So check that first. That's step number one. Make sure that you do have internet in the house. Another way to check that is to see if you have other wireless devices on the same network, meaning you have a phone, a cell phone, or if you have an iPad or something in there. Make sure that that connects to your connection too. If that's connecting wirelessly, then you know it's a problem with the device, and you know that your internet service provider's modem and equipment is working normally. The second thing you want to check, once you've made sure that your internet service provider is doing their job, is check your wireless transmitting device. Now, a lot of these are built into the wireless modems provided by AT&T and Bright House and Time Warner and Cox and all those companies. So now they'll give you a wireless device all in one, which will have your modem and your wireless transmitter, what they call a router. And this is the unit that sends that signal all over your house and allows you to connect up to usually 100 or more wireless devices. So this is the next thing you have to do. If you've installed your own and bypassed the one that they gave you, or if you have some older equipment that does not have a wireless router built into it, check this guy too. And again, it's pretty simple. Just pull the power cable out of the back and leave it out for about 15 to 20 seconds, plug it back in, and then go try your wireless connection again and see if that resolves the issue. Just as a note that these things can go bad too. These wireless routers don't live forever. Sometimes they can get burned out. There's electronics in there, and from normal electronic expansion and contraction, some of the chips in there can lose their ability to communicate with the rest of the device. The boards can go bad. They can take power surges. So there's a lot of things that can happen to these things that wear out after a couple of years too. So if it's a few years old, it's probably not a bad idea to replace it with something a little newer, a little faster technology. And they're very, very inexpensive too. Prices range anywhere from $39. You can spend several $100s for one of the newer versions of it. So you've checked all that stuff, and you've got other devices on your wireless network that are working, but the one device you're trying to connect, your iPad or your laptop, is not connecting for some reason. Well, there's a couple of reasons that may not connect. Everything has a wireless switch. Everything can go into airplane modes, and you make sure the airplane mode's not on. If that's not the case, make sure that you connected it properly to your wireless network. And almost every wireless network has WPA or WPA2 encryption on it, which means you need to enter a code one time to make sure that that wireless device is able to talk to and encrypt your signal, the data that's flowing back and forth between your device and your wireless router. So you've checked that, you've made sure you've entered the correct security key, and that's not the issue. The other thing you want to check is there is a switch, either a software or a hardware switch on almost every wireless compatible device. On some of the older laptops, there's actually a physical switch. This is a Dell Latitude, and there is a wireless switch on the side that you have to turn off and on. Sometimes when you're picking up your laptop, you may have switched it inadvertently to the off position. You may pick it up like this and switched it off, and then it's easy enough just to flick it back into the on position. Some of them you have to hold buttons on there. Some of them are software based, meaning you have to hit a function key, and there's a little thing usually with some kind of antenna, almost looks like a satellite antenna. You hold the function key and press that. Sometimes there's a button up here on the top of your bezel that may be depressed, that shouldn't be depressed. It all seems so incredibly obvious, doesn't it? Until it isn't. We see these things every day. We have people come in here and ask us, why won't my thing connect? Now, in the worst case scenario, you may have a wireless receiver in your laptop or a portable device that has failed. And I've seen this in several HPs, including the one I use every day. The thing failed after a couple of months, just a little tiny wireless card that sits inside it. You have a couple of options. If it's under warranty, they'll repair it for free. If not, you can buy a little wireless card and install it yourself. It's a little tricky. Some of them aren't too bad. It's usually a couple of screws. Or you can get a bypass. It's a USB wireless adapter, and you can get speeds up to 150 megabytes per second. And actually, they're pretty reliable, and they have a really good distance too. And while we're talking about distance, that's the other issue you may have. If you have a really big house or you're in a really big building, it depends on your router, but there's usually an effective length or signal strength, meaning your signal can only go so far before it poops out. And by law, they're regulated to go up to a certain amount of power, so you can only go so far. And then you have walls, and you have electronic interference from microwaves, from phones, cell phones, refrigerators, all kinds of stuff. It really depends what band you're on. And the 5 gigahertz band is becoming more and more popular because it's a little less crowded. So you might be able to get a little bit more range on the 5 gigahertz frequency spectrum. So you can check that out when you buy a new router. Make sure you have a dual band. It's going to have the 2.4 and the 5, and it's compatible back and forth with older and newer devices. So that's the other thing too. And from what my engineer friends tell me, that the wireless signal is directional, meaning that sometimes if you have a long and narrow house or a building you're trying to get a signal in, if you just turn your wireless device 45 or even 90 degrees, you may be able to get signal in that direction where it wasn't broadcasting before. Same goes for your receiver too. You can turn your computer, move your computer closer, which is not the optimal solution because you want to use it where you want to use it. But take your wireless transmitter, either your cable modem that has a wireless device or the wireless router that you purchased yourself, and turn it. Give it a little spin and see if that makes a difference. You can also remove boundaries in between it. And the other important thing is that my engineering people tell me, these guys are rocket scientists. They know how this stuff works. They say, get it as high as you can. If you've got it on a table, put it up there on a shelf if you can. Out of the way, somewhere where you can't see it, give it a little turn. That may resolve your wireless communication issues if it is a signal factor that's not going far enough. And you'll know that because every other device that's closer seems to work, but the ones further away kind of drop, or they're a little flaky in terms of their wireless reception and transmission. So we have several articles on our website at computercareclinic.com. You need to put that clinic in there. If you go to Computer Care, you hit some other wacky company. Computercareclinic.com. You can also put our phone number in there, which is 259-4499. We do not take tech support calls for free, unfortunately. Everything's free except tech support calls because we've got to pay somebody to do it. So I'd be Santa Claus if I could. The world just doesn't work that way. But you have some printable documents on our website, including Troubleshoot Wireless Connectivity. It goes a little bit deeper into it. And of course, you can Google all kinds of stuff and find many more videos here on YouTube that may explain the individual problem you're having. We'll go into depth in the future in some of these other things too, and actually show you how the signal changes too. My name is Chuck Fresh. I'm the PCGYN. This is Computer Care Clinic's Tip of the Day.